the Music City Bowl between the Auburn Tigers and the Maryland Terrapins. Hugh Freeze's program on the Plains takes on Mike Locksley and Maryland at Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee, December the 30th, a 2 p.m. Eastern kickoff time on ABC. Guys, Auburn is a 2.5-point favorite in this ball game. The over-under is set at 49.5. It feels like so many of these bowl games have very, very similar spreads, right? A lot of them are 2.5, 3.5. The over-unders are around 46 to 49 points. Like it's kind of weird how similar they are. But either way, Tigers are a 2.5-point favorite with that over-under just under 50. And guys, as we look at this game and the top storylines, I mentioned it, but a chance to end year one of the Hugh Freeze era on a high note, right? There were ups, there were downs, there were in-betweens for Auburn in this 2023 season. And guys, I go all the way back to SEC Media Days when I heard Hugh Freeze talk about this season, and admittedly, Auburn was a stock down team for me leaving SEC Media Days, because I think anytime a coach is standing at the podium and pleading with his fan base, please be patient with us. Please give us time. What he is effectively telling you is, hey, we've got holes on this roster. We've got deficiencies. We're going to do our very best to shore up, but you got to bear with us because it's going to take some time, right? So I thought you saw that this year, right? I thought you saw the good. You saw the flashes from Auburn and what they can be. And I think we're all really excited once Auburn gets their quarterback, right? Once Hugh Freeze gets his guy under center and the offense gets going, that they'll be able to click at a high level and be a real contender in the SEC. I thought you saw moments of that this year. Then you saw the bad, right? You saw the New Mexico State game. You saw the heartbreak against Alabama, which if you spin that, obviously that was a positive, but tough to spin a loss like that. So there was good, there was bad, there was ugly. But again, guys, for an Auburn program in year one of Hugh Freeze, you beat up on Maryland. You finish out this season with a win. I think you're able to take a lot of momentum into the 2024 season. You're able to take momentum onto the recruiting trail, momentum in the transfer portal, and it'll do wonders for your program if you're the folks on the Plains for sure. Guys, I mentioned that Alabama game. In this game, my biggest question, or one of my biggest questions is, has Auburn recovered from that heartbreaker against Alabama? I remember watching that game, guys, and thinking to myself, the way that Auburn's heart was just ripped out of their chest. Like, that's one of those things you don't get over in a day or two, right? That's something that can linger with you. And I think it can be a beneficial thing for Auburn, believe it or not, guys. If Hugh Freeze and his staff, they look around, they use it as a teaching moment. They use it as a teaching lesson, if you will, to where they implement things and they all learn from that mistake or the mistakes that led to that loss, then I think you can use it to your benefit, no doubt. But that's much easier said than done, right? That's much easier said than done. When you lose a game like that, where it is so demoralizing and so backbreaking, and I wonder what the mood of the fan base is. Like, how fired up are they for the bowl game? How fired up are they for football right now after that loss to the Alabama Crimson Tide and the way you lost that football game? So the big question, guys, can Auburn get themselves up off the mat enough to bring their best effort and take down Maryland? Because that Alabama loss was one that, we can sit here and say, well, just get over it and go play. Much, much easier said than done. Can Auburn respond the right way? Can they take out their frustrations on Maryland? That's going to be interesting to see. Guys, the latest news, this just happened about 30 minutes ago. Maryland's starting quarterback, Talia, I'm going to butcher his name, Talia Tungvalola, the brother of Tua, has officially opted out of this football game. That name is a disaster, by the way. There is no saying that. Anyways, Maryland's QB1 is out of the game. Who do they turn to in this game? Obviously, they'll have a backup going, but I mean, Talia was a fantastic player for them. You look at the numbers, 3,377 yards, 66% completion percentage. He had 25 touchdown passes as well on the season. Where does Maryland go? Again, a lot of teams, guys, are going to be facing something similar to this with the opt-outs taking place, and quarterback is certainly a position. We're seeing a lot of opt-outs in the transfer portal. Very, very active for that position, if you will. But again, he has opted out. Where does Maryland go? Good place to start for them. And I think another big storyline in this one, how does Auburn contain Maryland running back Roman Hemby? Right? Hemby was a really good player for them, an impact player in that offense. 135 carries, 663 yards, 55 yards per game. He had 4 touchdowns on the year at the running back position. Also caught 37 passes for 288 yards and 3 touchdowns. Auburn, on the other hand, guys, 83rd nationally in rushing defense. So we expect Maryland, right? They were going to be balanced either way, running the football. Now they're really going to have an emphasis on running the football with Roman Hemby, with a backup quarterback. Auburn, will they be able to get penetration, slow down that Maryland rushing attack, and force the Terps to throw the football? Guys, on the other side, it's all about me for the Auburn offense. It's all about keeping drives alive, staying on the field. Obviously, you need Jarquez Hunter to run the football well. You need Peyton Thorne to be good. Obviously, Robbie Ashford has entered the transfer portal, opted out of this game effectively, so you don't have him as sort of that Swiss Army knife, red zone threat, if you will. But can Auburn keep drives alive and stay on the field, guys? They are 21st worst in third down conversions this season as an offense, 33.6%. They are converting. Meanwhile, Maryland defensively is 28th in the country in third down defense. They allow just 34.6%. So, can Auburn overcome that? Can they do something that have not done at a high level all year? That is convert on third down, keep that offense on the field, put some drives together, sustain some drives, and get something out of their offense. Because again, guys, there were some glimmers of hope offensively, but not very often, right? The Auburn offense was abysmal, to say the least. One of the worst passing attacks in college football. They got to get more out of Peyton Thorne, that passing attack. And of course, guys, it's a no-brainer to say they've got to run the football effectively with Jarquez Hunter. Guys, that brings me into my prediction for this game. I don't think this is one that many folks have at the top of their radar, or I think if you rank the SEC bowl games in regards to most entertaining to least entertaining, this one's probably near the bottom, but I think it's a fascinating game nonetheless. Again, guys, December the 30th, 2 o'clock kick on ABC in Nashville, the Music City Bowl with Auburn and Maryland. I look at this game, guys. Now we know the starting quarterback for Maryland is out. It's 2 potent running games that will go against each other. Auburn has been really, really good defensively this year. They are salty on defense. And while I do think that loss to Alabama was one, I'm really curious. How does Auburn get themselves off the mat? Obviously, something that's beneficial. This game isn't like the following weekend from the Alabama game, so they've had time to process things, to get over it, to hit the practice field and figure some things out or what have you. But still, it's a tough thing to overcome. So I think this is going to be a lower scoring type of game. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of offensive fireworks in this one. But I do think Auburn is going to have just a little bit more. I think they're going to have just enough to edge out the Maryland Terrapins, take down Maryland again. Without their starting quarterback, I think it's going to be really tough for them to move the football in this game. And I think Auburn will rely on Jarquez Hunter. I think they'll rely on a salty defense. The good news for Auburn is this, guys, running game and defense travels. And it don't matter where you go, it travels. I think it'll travel to Nashville, Tennessee. For that reason, I am picking the Auburn Tigers. Guys, lock me in. I've got Auburn 27, Maryland 20. So give me Tigers 27, Terps 20. I think it'll be a nice boost for Hugh Freeze and company, a nice exclamation point on year one of his tenure. Because, guys, getting to a bowl game, I said it over the summer, I stuck by it. Getting to a bowl game was a success for Hugh Freeze and company. When you looked at what he inherited and the roster, getting to a bowl game, if you can win this football game, go 7-6 with a bowl win, I think that will be a success in year one. And I think that will set up Auburn for a really, really big year 2 in 2024 under Hugh Freeze. So again, guys, the Auburn Tigers, I think, take down Maryland. Final score, 27-20.